Hi, I'm Nancy Alder, and welcome to my very first video cast on the road after leaving my home and position at Ananda Laurelwood and embarking on my West Coast exploration and speaking tour, hosting some workshops on my hero's journey and exploring what next steps might hold for me. So I was actually starting to write a blog the other night and thought that I would just share my reflections with you all in person because I discovered the most amazing book in my library when I was downsizing, and I have no idea where I got it from, but I picked it up and wanted to show it to you if you can see it. It is A Language Older Than Words by Derrick Jensen, and it spoke to me so deeply because he talks a lot about the element of silencing in our culture, the way that we silence our inner knowing, the way that we silence socially unaccepted behaviors in others, and the way that we also silence our connection with nature, with life all around us. And this silencing enables us to perpetrate violence against other life forms. He talks about the abuse that he experienced in his family growing up and how the only way his father was able to live with himself for what he perpetrated against his children and his wife was to pretend like it didn't happen. How the only way that they were able to survive the abuse they received was to not talk about it, to pretend like it didn't exist. And looking at what we are doing with violence across the world, with exploitation of the environment, with devastation of species, the only way I believe that we can continue to do these things is by silencing our innate connection to the world around us. Naturally, we live in a very interconnected state. We feel the intuitive wisdom, we feel the emotions and the consciousness of other people, of trees, of animals. And when we're connected, we feel deeply sustained and nourished by that web of life. But when we experience a disconnect, when we cut off our feelings as a source of knowing, when we cut off our bodily intuition in order to only approach the world in a rational way, we cut ourselves off from that web of life. And we also cut ourselves off from the natural consequences of the actions that we take in the world. And this, what Derrick Jensen shared, just impacted me so deeply because I have found through my own healing that my commitment to hearing, listening deeply to the wisdom in my body, to all of my voices, not just the voices in my head, but to my heart, to what my body is telling me, is absolutely crucial to connecting with my internal guidance. Listening to the people around me and creating a safe space for them to be able to share their inner knowing, their wide breadth of feelings, their shadow side, those parts of them that they censor in order to feel secure and accepted. And also listening deeply to the environment around me so that I'm not just coming from how do I compete to get ahead and feel secure and a sense of belonging in the world, but how do I really feel like a nourished and abundant contributor to what's happening, that I'm being led on a journey to discover my gifts and how to share them more deeply with the world, and that we're all enriched by participating as equal partners in this unfolding of life and this life's journey. So I share my personal journeys right now, my experience with fear and doubt of leaving security to embark in the world on my own, not really knowing what's coming up next. I share all of this in my blog. I also do a series of workshops on the hero's journey so that we can all share each other's our stories about our lives and be allies for each other to call out our heroic qualities, and also increasingly exploring ways that I can contribute to hearing and sharing the natural world with others as a source of sustenance and interconnection. So if any of these things that I'm committed to doing resonate with you, I invite you to join me on my website at Innerwoven, INNERW oven.net. And I'm also excited to share that I am exploring ways to set up an online webinar so that I can connect with you no matter where you are in the world, and so that I also feel resourced by you in your own courageous and inspiring journey as we're all figuring out the best way to live a sincere and authentic and interconnected life in the world. So blessings on your journey. I invite you to join mine